Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you for joining us today. We have an exciting news story to share, so let's get started. I go by the name of Lucas Bennett, an average 33-year-old individual who is one of the 4 partners in a successful plumbing business. At the beginning of this tale, I am married to Elena, a striking 32-year-old woman often referred to as a trophy wife. She works as a secretary for the owner of the local BMW dealership, and together, we have an 8-year-old daughter named Maria. Our residence is located in a pleasant part of town, and we also own a summer home on a popular island in the Baltic Sea. Elena and I crossed paths for the first time while I was installing the town's new central heating system at her parents' abode. At that time, she was residing with her parents and was in a bad mood due to her recent breakup with a man known as Bum Blasted. The reason behind their split? Bum Blasted, whose actual name is Ryan Gran, was caught by an enraged husband sleeping with his wife and was shot in the backside with a loaded shotgun. Blasted, who had a reputation as a womanizer, had crossed a line. This time this mother had worked as an au pair in California before returning home while pregnant. She named her son Ryan after her American lover, even though she suspected that Ryan might have been an alias. After reconnecting with an old classmate, Elias Grant, who she had previously overlooked in school, she saw him as a suitable father for her child. Elias, who had once been a shy and unnoticed boy, was eager to marry her and legally adopted Ryan. To everyone's surprise, their family thrived, eventually expanding to include 2 daughters. Together, they turned their small computer shop into a successful chain of 12 stores, which they later sold to a multinational company. With their newfound wealth, they purchased a beautiful countryside estate and ventured into horse breeding. Elias adored his stepson Ryan and lavished him with gifts and privileges that he had never experienced in his own childhood. As a result, Ryan grew up to be a confident and entitled individual. Enjoying the advantages of wealth and good looks, Ryan had a successful track record with women until he crossed paths with Elena. Their initial encounters sparked true feelings within him, but Elena made it clear that she was saving herself for marriage. This was a new challenge for Ryan, who was accustomed to instant gratification. He tried to adhere to Elena's wishes, but his dishonesty eventually led to a situation where she discovered him cheating. The relationship ended abruptly, leaving Elena devastated. Wanting to support her through this difficult time, I asked her out on a date. To my surprise, she agreed. Our evening together was lovely, culminating in a confession from Elena at my place. She revealed that she had decided to change her life to embrace the freedom she had seen in her friends. In a perhaps retaliatory move against Ryan, she chose to sleep with me that night. Despite my attempts at further connection, she declined any future dates. Rumors soon circulated about Elena's transformation into a partygoer, engaging in casual relationships, even with some of Ryan's acquaintances. Meanwhile, Ryan left town for university, maintaining his promiscuous habits, but never fully recovering from the impact of his time with Elena. The woman he truly desired had rejected him while engaged, and later, she was involved with his friends. His ego couldn't handle it. A year after our initial meeting, I crossed paths with Elena at a party. We reconnected, and she assured me that her wild phase was behind her. Our bond deepened over time, and we became a committed couple. 3 years later, we got married. When Elena became pregnant with Maria shortly after our wedding, I was working on a plumbing job for a friend of Ryan's. He slyly mentioned Ryan's boasting about wanting to seduce Elena and spread the word about it. It was unsettling news for a newlywed. Elena reassured me that she wouldn't allow Ryan the chance to be alone with her or act on his supposed promise. As time passed, Ryan's threat faded from our thoughts. Years later, we heard that Ryan had gotten married. A wealthy English woman moved to England with him, seemingly out of our lives. Elena and I continued in what I would call an average marriage, full of its ups and downs. Then, like a bolt of lightning from a clear blue sky, it all came rushing back. It was a Wednesday evening, and Elena and I were sitting in our living room, watching the weather forecast. The presenter was delivering good news for the upcoming weekend when Elena suddenly turned to me with a serious expression. Lucas, I need you to listen. I have something important to tell you, she said. I looked at her a bit puzzled. All right, go on. Something happened today. No, not today. In fact, it's something from the past before you and I met, she hesitated. Do you remember my ex-fiancé, Ryan Grant? I frowned. Oh, you mean bum blasted? Yeah, I remember him. The guy who got shot in the ass for screwing someone's wife. There are still rumors about that guy. Last I heard, he was still a complete scumbag. Why did someone finally shoot him again? Elena had gone pale. No, there was a recent incident where Ryan, who now lives in England, attended an old friend's wedding and met Gabriella Maria Eriksson. Gabriella, knowing me, ended up giving Ryan my number, leading to a tense situation. I questioned Gabriella about whether Ryan had contacted her, and she confirmed they had spoken a few times, reminiscing about the past. I scoffed at the idea of reminiscing about a short-lived relationship where Ryan had been unfaithful. Gabriella explained that they had dreams together and just wanted to talk about them. This revelation puzzled me, as it seemed their past should be left behind. When Gabriella mentioned that Ryan wanted to meet her, I reacted with disdain, recalling Ryan's past promises to prove himself to others. Gabriella reacted awkwardly to my harsh words, signaling a deeper issue at play. Ashen, please don't overreact. He simply wants to reconnect his friends, nothing more. All right, I agree. Let's have him and his wife over for dinner. Elena disagreed, explaining that he couldn't come over as he had won a bonus week at a luxury hotel in Aisha, and invited her to join him. His wife couldn't come due to her fear of flying, but she trusted him and had no issue with him meeting an old friend. Shocked, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Elena insisted she had already agreed to go. She saw this as a rare opportunity that we couldn't afford otherwise, especially with our summer house expenses. Frustrated, I realized this situation was much worse than I had anticipated, and it seemed like a nightmare was unfolding. While Asia was known to be one of the most expensive holiday destinations in Italy, that fact didn't change the reality of what she was about to do. I exploded in anger, demanding, "Do you still have feelings for that awful person?" Elena's complexion turned pale as she quickly denied it. "No, I love only you. You're my true love." I reacted with disbelief, questioning her actions of spending time with the other person on a trip to Ischia. She defended herself, stating that there was nothing inappropriate happening and that her loyalty lies with me. Fed up with her explanations, I retorted, "If there's no deceit or betrayal, then why is he taking you to such an extravagant destination?" I warned her of the potential consequences and how it may appear to others. Elena was shocked by my accusations, asking if I truly viewed her in such a negative way, despite innocently accepting an invitation to Ischia. "Have been crazy to turn down such a great free vacation," I sneered. "Did his wife tell you this?" "No, then yeah. I see you as a 304 and remember this. Once a 304, always a 304. You can never wash that reputation away once you're back home." Tears welled up in her eyes as she sobbed. "You'll see, nothing bad will happen. Nobody will even know I'm going with Ryan." I laughed coldly. "Nobody but me. You're out of your damn mind if you think I'll keep this a secret. Soon the whole town will see your orgies and my humiliation on the web." Now for the first time, real fear flickered in her eyes. The price of her free trip was becoming much higher than she had expected. She whispered, "Please, don't do this to us. I promise I'll make it up to you when I get back." "There's only one way to make it right," I said, my voice like steel. "Take out your phone, call that bum-blasted creep, and cancel the trip. Do it now." Her lips trembled. I can't do that." And that was it, the final straw. My marriage was over. I felt a strange sense of relief as I quietly said, "Have a good trip," before heading into the living room to pour myself a generous glass of my finest single malt whiskey. We didn't exchange any words for the rest of the evening. The following morning she appeared to have regained her confidence, flashing a bright smile as she playfully remarked, "Still think you're married to a 304? I met her gaze with a steely expression. "Have you canceled your trip?" Her smile wavered. "No, and I can't." I retorted, "Then yes, I still believe I'm married to a 304. Her face darkened as she snapped, "Who cares about your opinion?" Breakfast was consumed in tense silence before I made a call at work. Clara Smith answered with surprise. "You are?" I confirmed, "Yes, I am. Would you be interested in having lunch with me?" Clara, who lived just 4 houses away, was the mother of my daughter's best friend and had separated from her unfaithful husband about 5 months earlier. I had always admired her, not a traditional beauty like Elena, but attractive in her own unique way. During lunch, after some casual conversation, I leaned in and shared, "I have a secret to tell you, but you have to promise I want you and your daughter to come with me and Maria to Euro Disney in Paris," I announced, prompting Clara to lift her eyebrows in surprise. "All expenses paid," I added quickly, sensing her skepticism. "What's the catch?" Clara inquired, narrowing her eyes suspiciously. "No catch," I reassured her. "In fact, there's a gift involved. I just think it would be easier for me and more fun for Maria to have you two along." Clara considered my offer carefully, her curiosity piqued. "And what does Elena think about this?" she asked, referring to my wife. "Elena won't care," I scoffed. "She's too busy planning her trip to Asia with her ex-boyfriend. In fact, I've decided to file for divorce," I declared firmly. Clara fell silent, processing the bombshell I had just dropped. After a moment, she inquired, "Can you tell me more about your plans for the trip?" "No plans yet," I admitted. "If you say yes, we'll plan together." An hour later, Clara called me back with her decision. "All right, I'll come," she agreed. That evening, she had already arranged for a babysitter for her daughter, and we met at my office to start planning. I expected her to request separate rooms, but to my surprise, she suggested a family room so the girls could stay together. I had no objections. From that day forward, Clara and I spoke daily. We booked our flights to Paris, rented a car, and secured a hotel near Euro Disney. Meanwhile, at home, Elena and I barely spoke. The only difference was that I had lost all interest in sex with her. If she noticed, she didn't seem to care. One day, while I was at a gas station washing her car, I found a folder she had forgotten in the glove compartment. It contained printed pages from the Asia Hotel's website and an email from Ryan detailing their flight itinerary and boat transfer to Asia. It was almost like she was teasing me on purpose. Instead, it was the final proof I needed. My course of action was clear now, and soon Elena would find out exactly what that meant. Elena had probably canceled her trip. If I had given her the ultimatum to stay at home or divorce, but I didn't see any reason to offer her that last chance to save our marriage, and the damn summer house in my mindy had already betrayed me when she accepted Bon Delidi's invitation for a luxury getaway in Asia. She was not naive. She knew his expectations and willingly agreed. While I was going on a trip with Clara, I had assured her that there would be no strings attached between us. It was a completely different scenario as Clara was single, and I had finalized my divorce before our departure. What would happen after our trip was a matter for the future, unlike Elena's betrayal. When I informed Elena that Maria and I would be visiting Euro Disney in Paris while she was in Asia, she didn't raise any objections or inquire about the details. Maybe both of us had lost interest in intimacy, but for different reasons. On the night before her departure, as she packed, I retired to bed early. She tried to approach me, but I pushed her away, shouting never to come near me. She flinched, pleading for communication, but I insisted we would talk upon our return from the trips. She departed early the next morning after I made my stance clear. We're currently en route to Asia, I informed Bon Delidi's wife over the phone. She appeared to be very upset, exclaiming, "He has crossed a line this time." It was relatively easy to locate her. A brief conversation with Nancy, a friend of Elena, revealed where Bum Blasted resided in England. Individuals with unconventional names are often straightforward to find. A quick online search yielded the home phone number of the Grant family. Subsequently, I composed a letter addressed to Elena. It read, "Dear Elena, it has come to my attention that your current and former boyfriend, Bum Blasted, is a deceitful individual. His wife informed me that she was working as a hostess while her husband was enjoying a week in Asia. She expressed that she had a wonderful time vacationing on the island. Perhaps it would have been wise to speak to her instead of believing every word that deceitful man proclaimed to you. She has pledged to journey to Ischia soon for a serious discussion with both your partner and yourself. Enclosed are copies of the divorce papers that were officially filed by the court today. You are now liberated to pursue your desires without concern for my feelings. Admittedly, you didn't show much care before. Antic activities, either because they hadn't spent the night together, or because they were involved in something very different. Out of the blue, Elena checked in the hotel room with the strange man. Different from the romantic thing. I don't need to describe it further. A thing that was absolutely tempting. Now, if you are in Ischia reading this letter, then you are the husband that I am divorcing soon. I have faxed over the divorce papers and this letter to your hotel. Immediately, the phone started ringing. Both the home phone and the cell phone were incessantly ringing. I didn't bother to answer after Elena arrived, but I read her text messages. An hour after the first message, she sent another one saying, "I'm returning home tomorrow so we can resolve this misunderstanding." My response was firm. You didn't accidentally bunk with the guy. You went there intentionally. You'll have to face the repercussions. There's no point in complaining. Maria and I will be away for a few days. Your whereabouts don't concern me. Later that night, Abigrad phoned. She was already in Naples and had insisted that Ryan make Elena vacate their hotel room immediately. 15 minutes later, Ryan called back, confirming that Elena had indeed left the room. That meant she had checked out within an hour of arriving. After the tumultuous events, Clara, the girls, and I embarked on our trip. The following day, we boarded an Air France flight to Brussels and picked up our rental car. Finding our hotel was a breeze, thanks to a modern GPS system. The girls were overjoyed to be together, and Clara and I clicked effortlessly. The only hiccup was our family room's provision of 2 grand lit beds, slightly wider than singles. Clara and I shared a laugh at the sight. The issue resolved itself. Elena barely crossed my mind, as she had returned home the very next day. She bombarded me with texts swearing her innocence, claiming she had spent the night alone at another hotel. I retorted, "You made a mistake the moment you accepted his invitation. You left because he threw you out after his wife caught him, not due to any sudden moral epiphany." Clara wisely refrained from getting involved in our exchanges. We enjoyed 2 delightful days at Euro Disney and another in Paris, exploring the Eiffel Tower, shopping, and cruising along the Seine River. After the children had gone to bed last night, Clara softly whispered to me, "Lucas, I love you." I replied, "I love you too, Clara." Our intimacy was slow and quiet out of consideration not to disturb the girls. It was a profoundly emotional evening, symbolizing a fresh start. Later, Clara inquired if my love for her would endure once we went back home. I assured her that true love was not bound by location. The next day, she proposed, "You and Maria can come live with Will and me." I hesitated, asking, "Are you serious?" Clara confirmed, "If your love is genuine, you have a place with me." I agreed. We both acknowledged it as a swift decision, having spent only 4 days together where we showcased our best selves. Yet we understood that taking risks was essential for success. Elena struggled to come to terms with the situation, tearfully pleading for me to stay as I moved my belongings to Clara's home. However, the moment she chose Asia over our marriage, the damage was irreparable. My first night in Clara's house will forever be etched in my memory. During our time together, Lynn and I spent hours intimately connecting, and I often marveled at her wonderful qualities, unable to comprehend how her ex-husband could have ever betrayed her trust. Recognizing that nobody is perfect, I remained optimistic that we could navigate any challenges as a team. However, my sense of assurance was swiftly put to the test. Just a month into our relationship, a mysterious letter was delivered to me at work. Enclosed was a printed photograph depicting Clara in a compromising position at a recent conference, standing on a bar table with her underwear around her ankles and her skirt lifted. The accompanying message insinuated that she had engaged in inappropriate behavior with Ryan Grant, as per her friend's knowledge. Initially consumed by anger, I eventually managed to compose myself and scrutinize the photo closely. Despite its poor quality, I observed discrepancies that caught my attention. Her watch was not the one she typically wore, and her hair appeared slightly shorter than reality. That evening, I confronted Clara with the letter and the picture, seeking an explanation for the unsettling discovery. "Would you care to clarify this?" I inquired, observing her response attentively. Clara shared with me her suspicion about Ryan, believing he may have taken advantage of her while she was heavily intoxicated during a wild midsummer night party in their school days. Despite his denial of any wrongdoing, Clara found humor in a photo of herself dancing on a bar desk, and then proceeded to show me an album of pictures from a Christmas party game at her company. The photos, with clear dates and times, captured Clara and other women participating in a competition requiring them to walk with their panties at their ankles, though not their own. Clara and I had previously agreed that our past actions before our relationship were irrelevant, focusing instead on uncovering the truth behind the manipulated Christmas party images. The skill level exhibited in the manipulation intrigued us both. The need to edit the images using Photoshop was remarkable, suggesting that someone who harbored ill feelings toward Clara, myself, or both of us was responsible. Despite our best efforts, we were unable to identify the sender. However, after Clara shared the picture with several colleagues and offered a reward for discovering the culprit, the harassment ceased. A biker friend of mine even pledged to have a serious conversation with the individual responsible. Following this incident, Clara and I grew even closer, understanding that some individuals were envious of our relationship. Elena and I made the decision to sell our summer house. She utilized her portion of the proceeds, supplemented with financial assistance from her parents, to buy out my share in our home. We reached an agreement to share custody of Maria, and despite this arrangement, she spent a substantial amount of time with both of us, including during Elena's designated weeks. Clara was supportive of this, as our daughters had developed a close sisterly bond. I stayed in sporadic contact with Abby through emails, where I learned that she and Bum Blasted had separated about 2 months after their vacation in Asia.